Sorry, guys. So last time we talked about the not the open-ended questions. I'm sorry. We talked about the elevator pitches and just some of the things that you need to say. So I want to focus on what to say. And we talked about the products and kind of give you knowledge of terminologies. That was the first thing we did. And then we talked about opening up the conversation with the elevator statements. Today, we're going to deal with what's next after that, which would be the bridge statements and also overcoming some of the objections and what to say when they object. And then we're going to talk on next week. I might do it. Yeah, next week, I'm going to talk on finalizing the sale. Okay, finalizing, setting an appointment. We might be able to squeeze it in a little bit today, depending on how fast we go. All right, so this is just really to give the conversation and the conversation flow. So when you do start talking with people and you get on the phones and you go into the meetings, you got some ammunition. You know what you're talking about a little, okay? So, and the more that we keep doing this, the more you'll start getting acclimated and you'll start getting used to it. So, I don't know. Did you guys start looking at any of the trainings from the elevator pitches? Anybody started studying that and going over that? And today I kind of need you all to kind of participate with me in this training. So, if you're gonna come off of mute, just make sure there's not a lot of noise in the background so we won't disturb everybody else. But did you all get a chance to start going over the elevator pitches and just kind of practicing that and making it your own? Because that's the purpose of the elevator pitches. Who's been practicing? You?
I've done a little.
You've done a little? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So one of the things that I want to stress that if you are not practicing those elevator pitches, by the time we're getting on the phone and we start calling people and you start meeting folks, you're not going to know what to say. So start practicing those things. Those are some key conversation pieces that'll put the vocabulary that you need in your mouth when you're speaking with these customers. So we talked about the elevator pitches and let me go over that real quick. So, there was different elevator pitches just to kind of refresh your memory. We talked about the compliance pitch, the CEO pitch, things of that nature. So when customers are asking you what it is that you do, you're able to have that flow. I'm a compliance agent with G2 Global Network. We specialize in aligning businesses with IRS qualified benefit programs that improves employees' health plans while putting real tax savings back into the company's bottom line. Okay, wow.
That's a good one.
Okay, good. So that's one of them. So the other one, you're talking with a CEO. You can say, hey, we help business leaders like yourself stay compliant with federal regulations, okay, while reducing FICA and tax liabilities and increasing your employee retention. So those are the things that you want to practice with your elevator pitches. So if you don't have the copy of that, please let me know so we can make sure that you guys have a copy of these different elevator pitches. But what's next after that pitch? And that's the question. After you have these elevator pitches, what's next? You have to be able to bridge into a conversation. And a lot of times after the pitch, you want to go straight into asking open-ended questions, right? But a lot of times they may have some type of objection to moving forward. So that's what I want to kind of deal with, the different objections. So the way that you deal with objections is by number one, implementing and having the proper bridge statements, okay, and learning how to bridge. This is something that we learned years ago, and a lot of you all that's in sales should remember that, bridge statements and transitional statements is a powerful piece when you're trying to close your sales and you're trying to get that conversation and get that customer to do what you need them to do. So a bridge statement is just a transitional phrase or a sentence that helps you to move from the client's objection or concern into a solution-based explanation. So remember what your job is. Your job is to give solutions to their scenario. So, when you listen to these customers, when you ask them open-ended questions, what is it that you're listening for? What is it that you're listening for? You're listening for pain. You're listening for conflict. You're listening for growth. You're listening for, situations such as retention and, things that that makes the C-level and decision makers, cringe. You want to listen for these things because you have a solution-based product. So the bridge statement is to help you to transition that objection or concerns into a solution-based explanation. Okay, you guys with me? It creates a non-confrontational flow. And that's what we want to do. We want to create a non-confrontational flow where it just eases in, right? And it builds a rapport while addressing the hesitation. Because now you're dealing with customers that may have some type of hesitation, some type of resistance, and you need to know what is it that I need to do next. So when it sounds like you're saying, I hear you, and let me show you a better way, okay? So with this bridge statement, okay, we're talking about overcoming objections, okay? And so what is overcoming objections? These bridge statements is to help you to overcome the objections. And so overcoming objections is just the process of acknowledging, clarifying, and resolving the concerns that a prospect may have. One of the things that I think that we do as sales professionals and consultants, we take objections wrong. We take objections in the form of, these people don't like us. They don't want to do business with us. The answer is no. Let me just move on, right? So, but when you understand objections, that objections is just the process of acknowledging and clarifying and resolving these customers' concerns. So these objections just means that they have unanswered questions. Okay, unresolved concerns. All right. So objections are not rejections. Objections are not rejections. Because someone is telling you, no, I'm not interested, I don't have time. That's not rejections. They're requests for more clarity and security or approval. That's what they're requesting. They just want more clarity. They're not saying, no, you suck and we just don't want to deal with you, right? They're saying, no, I don't understand what it is that you're proposing to me, and I need more clarity, and I need more security, and I need more proof of what it is that you're talking about. So as global compliance agents, you have to be prepared to handle these objections. So I put together like 15 different bridge statements and rebuttals for this program, okay? Because one of the objections that will often come up, number one, is we already have a benefit package in place, right? We already have a benefit package in place, okay? And what's the bridge? The bridge is, that's great. Most of our partners already had one before integrating our program. That's the bridge statement. Okay, and that statement is what's going to get you over to the rebuttal. Okay, so whimper and smirk, which we can't say anymore, by the way. I forgot to take that out, but for now, just say it. Whimper and smirk aren't here to replace your current offerings. They're here to enhance them. In fact, we often work with your existing providers just to reduce your out-of-pocket expense and increase employee satisfaction without disrupting anything. Okay? Great. Okay? So that's one objection. What's another objection that you might hear? It's a good one. It sounds too good to be true, right? When you start telling people about so much money they can put back in their bottom line, they're going to get, all of these freebies in terms of additional coverage for the employees and, all of that good stuff. They tend to think sometimes that that's too good to be true. Hey, listen, I completely understand. You want to go into agreement with them, right? You want to show agreement with them. I completely understand. That's a common first impression. So you want to go in agreement and let them know that they're not alone in their thinking, right? So that's the connection. That's the bridge. I completely understand. That's a common first impression. I'm going to give you all this stuff too, by the way. But this is a federally authorized program operating under IRS section 125, 105, 106, and 213. So, and it's been around since the 70s. We just specialize in helping business actually take advantage of what's already legal and available to them. See? That good stuff?
Mhm.
Okay. What about this one? Yeah, we don't want to complicate our payroll. Once again, you want to agree with them, right? You want to agree with them. I get it. I agree. No one wants added admin headaches. No one wants that type of trouble, right? That's why we have a built-in third-party administrator that handles everything on your behalf. No extra work for you on your payroll team. We integrate seamlessly with whatever system you already use. Objection overcome. You see? So these objections are just clients that don't have the right clarity as to what it is that you're offering. So you relax, take a breather, remember your bridges and your rebuttals, and tackle that. Okay? Tackle it. There's another one. We're a small business. I don't think this is for us. Okay? Actually, small businesses are who benefit from this the most. Because unlike large corporations, you might not have access to complex tax saving tools. Whippers unlock tax credits and pre-tax benefits that immediately impact your bottom line, even if you only have 5 to 10 employees. Objection overcame. You see? There's so many different objections that can come your way. Here's another one. We don't have the budget, right, for the new program. Hey, totally totally understandable. That's why this isn't a cost, it's a cash flow tool. There is no cost, there's a cash flow tool. There's zero upfront cost to implement. And because of the FICA tax savings, this program pays for itself and then some. You're not spending more, you're keeping more of what you already earned. We're not here to have you to spend more. We're here to help you to keep more. Once again, it's just clarity that they need. It's just clarity. Okay? Oh, here's a good one. This is a good one, right? We don't have time for that right now. That's a good one, right? You might get that from a lot of them that you call and say, listen, I might not have time for this right now. Hey, respectfully, sir, that's exactly why now is the right time. Respectfully, that's exactly why now is the right time. With today's healthcare costs and retention issues, companies that lose margins every month. We handle like 90% of the setup. All we need is 30 to 45 minutes to show you how this can boost cash flow and retention immediately for you. All right. This is one. I got this one before you all. I got this one. My accountant and HR hasn't heard of this. Now, this is a good one for you all to remember because a lot of companies are going to say, you know, my CPA handles this, okay? And he hasn't said anything. Well, you know, that's very common. Most CPAs and HR teams focus on operation, not benefit optimization. That's a good one, right? They don't focus on benefit optimization. They focus on operation. Yep. Okay. But this program is fully IRS compliant and backed by a legal opinion. We work alongside your accountant or HR team and even offer a compliance packet for their review. Everything is transparent and documented.
Hey Mo, can I ask a quick question?
Absolutely, Larry. Go ahead, brother.
So, going back to the other seven, for the CPAs and HR people that might have this objection, I mean, we know it's, but if they went and actually did their own research apart from whatever packet that we're giving them for their review, I mean, is there any foreseeable thing that might be, a fly in the ointment that could be a problem?
So if they did their own research about the program,
Correct.
so let me see if I'm understanding your question properly. I believe I'm hearing you ask if they did their research on the program, is their research going to tell them something different? Or
Correct.
okay, no, their research won't tell them anything different as it relates to the
Okay, so it's
savings or
pretty
what.
ironclad.
Say it again.
So it's pretty ironclad. I mean, it is what it is. So
Yeah, it is what it is. Exactly. This is
okay,
ironclad. I mean, it's
cool.
straightforward. Straightforward. Okay.
That makes it very easy to overcome that objection. Go ahead and look for yourself.
Use it or lose it.
Yep. There's a use it or lose
There
it
you go.
clause. Absolutely right. There's a use it or lose it clause. So yeah, so this was a good one right here, though, Larry. Listen, my accountant or HR hasn't heard it. You're gonna hear that. And that's a very common. Most CPAs and HR teams focus on operations. They don't focus on benefit optimization. That's why I'm here. Okay.
So on that same premises, if they decline the offer and then find out that other people are doing it, that they're in the same business or what have you, like school teachers or not school teachers, but schools or hospitals, can they go back and re-sign up or get signed up again? Like go back and decide to do it?
If they, okay, so you propose this to a customer and you're asking if they can come back later, if they don't.
Yeah, say they don't choose the offer at the time that it's given to them, but then they find out that others are using it, that they're in the same kind of business, like a hospital or something, or another hospital. Can they go back and say, hey, I decided we want to do this?
Sure.
Okay.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. 100%. The good thing.
Hi.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Trudy.
Just wanted to ask because it occurred to me, what if we give them this information, they go out and research it? Can they sign themselves up on their own?
No. They have to come through a company like ours.
Oh, good.
Yeah, they have to come through it, and it's not a lot of us out there right now. So they could go right through. I'm sure they can go probably directly to the main benefit holder, probably go through, but they don't know that.
Right.
They're not, I'm sure because they already have benefits, but they don't know. That's why they pay us to go out and go to make them aware of these programs.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, here's another one. We've tried wellness plans before. They didn't work. That makes sense. Most wellness plans are just a checklist or apps. Whimpers and Merck are different. They're insurance backed, IRS compliant, and tax to real medical expense reimbursements and tax savings. Not vague wellness goals. This is about financial wellness for the business and the employees. So there's different ways to handle that. Okay. We've tried the wellness plan before, it didn't work. All right. That totally makes sense. I've heard that before. Most wellness plans are just a checklist or apps. This is completely different. This is a Whimpers and Merck program, and they're insurance backed, IRS compliant, and tax to real medical expense reimbursements and tax savings. It's not a vague wellness program. Okay. This is a financial wellness for the business and the employee. So it's a win-win. Will this affect our employee paychecks? Great question. That's something we're very careful about. There are no negative effects to take-home pay. In many cases, employees end up with more benefits and more coverage without spending more, and you as employees reduce payroll taxes through FICA savings. All right? What about number 10? Sounds like a scam. What about this one? Sounds like a scam or a loophole, right? So I hear that, once again, you want to empathize and agree and with these people's concerns. Listen, I completely hear that. I understand. That's a smart level of caution. But that's why we provide legal documentation, compliance audits, and case
Bill it
studies.
regular.
Okay, that's why we provide legal documentation, compliance audits, and case studies. These programs have been around for decades under ERISA and the IRS code. We just make them accessible to everyday employees like you.
Hey Mo, this is Malik. Abdul Razak has the question in the chat. That's I think relative to the whole team, just FYI kind of stuff.
Okay.
How soon can the client start realizing the savings?
The great question. The very next month, next payroll run. The very next month, man, they're gonna see savings immediately. On the next payroll run, they see the savings. That's great news, right?
Great news.
The very next payroll run, man. Was that the question from
Abdul Razak? Yeah. And I
Abdul-
think the other one he asked, that was the same one Larry, Trudy asked, and that he addressed that, Abdul Razak, and that was, can they, go somewhere else and get this implemented? And Mo really answered that. So
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Could they go to another company and get it? Yes. Somebody else could give them this. I'm not going to say that. But there's not a lot of companies out there that's got this is the beauty about what we're doing. Yet we've caught this right now where there's not there's a handful of companies that's offering this right now. Because they don't know. So you don't have a lot of competition. There's no competition for it. This is open field. Most of the people that you're going to talk to, 90% of the people are not going to know about this program, and they're not going to have it. Okay, so once again, we're at the right place at the right time.
Mo,
Yes, sir.
I don't even think people would even know how to search for these companies. I wouldn't know how to search for it. Maybe HR does, but
Yeah. Well, I mean, some of them people, like some people that I've heard, they've heard of the Whimper. They didn't hear about the Smirk part. Smirk part came after Whimper. Okay, just like we have now the SIC MMP program. It just keeps advancing. Okay, they just keep tweaking it and keep advancing it and making it better. Okay, so now it's even better for them. They can save even more money because of the concierge service and the self-pay. All right, so they're putting more money, keeping more money in their bottom line that way as well. Okay. All right, here's another one. We don't want to explain something new to our employees. That's another fear that companies have, and they feel like they're trying to implement something new into their company, especially companies got a big team and things like that. What's the bridge here? The bridge is that's the beauty of it, Mr. Customer. You won't have to. Our trained company, then we go into the rebuttal. See, the bridge rebuttal. Our trained compliance agents and communication teams do the full onboarding for your staff. You stay focused on running your business while we educate and onboard your team with clarity and support. I was on a call with Thurman the other day with one of his clients, potential clients for this. And that was one of the things that he talked about, that they wanted who's going to educate the workers, the employees, about the program. Okay. And so the answer is that we have trained compliance agents and we have communication teams that do the full onboarding. So there's, they don't have to do any of that. We have a communication team. We have a team that onboards. Okay. So you can stay focused on running your business. And then we have a self onboarding ability for them. Option for them, brother. Okay. Here's another one. How do I know this won't trigger an IRS audit? I know y'all, if anybody worked in corporate, know about those audits. What happened on audit day? Everybody get to scrambling, right?
Yep.
Everybody get to scrambling. So yeah, that's a valid concern. Here's the bridge. And one we take very seriously. We only use IRS approved sections of the tax code, and all documentation is kept on file and signed. In fact, these programs are often used as part of a productive audit prevention strategy because they show you're following the compliant wellness structure. And that's another thing that you want to share with these clients too, is that that you are implementing a proactive audit prevention strategy. These are tools that to help companies to stay compliant and to be compliant with the IRS. You want to stress that these are sections of the IRS code that you need to be compliant in. Okay. Remember those 4 section codes, guys. If you haven't remembered anything else, section 125, 105, 106, 213D, start learning about them and then reading them so you can have that conversation. Here's another one. We've got other priorities right now. Listen, that's going to be a big one too. We got that was another objection. I think Thurman's guy said too. Thurman, am I right? That was one of their objections. And I call. He says he goes. They've got other priorities at the time. Okay. So totally get it. Priorities are always shifting. But most business owners don't realize that delaying this could be costing you thousands per month in missed FICA savings. A short meeting can unlock immediate relief for you and a stronger retention tool right now. Okay. So now these are all the different rebuttals, right? We can go over these. It's only 15 of them. Most business, here's another one. I've never heard of this being done. Bridge statement is most businesses haven't because it's typically reserved for Fortune 500 level strategy. Okay. Our mission is to bring these elite tax and wellness structures to an average employer. We're making corporate level tax savings accessible to businesses of every size and industry. That's good for smaller businesses. That's good. They'll love to hear that. Okay, what's the catch? What about that one? What's the catch? That's a fair question. And the truth is, there isn't one. It's not a catch because it's not a loophole or a trick. It's a structured IRS program that simply hasn't been promoted to the public. You benefit because you're choosing to be informed, while others keep overpaying unknowingly. That's a good one, right? That's a good rebuttal. Okay? That's a good rebuttal. So with putting all this together, all right, we're going from elevator pitch to using transitional questions, right? Well, we would go from elevator pitch to using the bridge for the objections to go into transitional questions. Okay, so it would be the elevator pitch. That's one. Okay, and you would go, if they have objections, this is what you would use. If they don't have objections, you would go right into your transitional open-ended questions. Okay. You go right here. They don't have any objections. Hey, Mr. Customer, can you walk me through your current employees benefit program? These are your transitional open-ended questions. This is what I'm doing is building your conversation, building your call flow, right? So now when you're talking, you're comfortable. Hey, what challenges do you experience when trying to provide competitive benefits to your team? These are open-ended questions. What are you listening for? Can somebody tell me, what are we listening for? Why are we asking these open-ended questions as being global compliance agents? What are we actually looking for? And then somebody tell me why.
The pain.
The pain. What else? That's good. Pain. We're looking for pain. Absolutely. What else?
Opportunity.
Okay. Opportunity, but what about growth? Right?
Yeah.
Growth, pain, right? What about things like retention? You know, is one of the pain points. What about overpaying or needing more cash flow? That's a pain point. Okay, look at number 5. You know, as your company grows, how are you planning to manage the rising cost of employee benefits? Well, what about retaining? What's your approach, you know, Anthony, with attracting and retaining good talent in your industry? You see?
Yep.
Because now we're the objection here is to get them talking.
Yeah, this is Kim Kardashian.
Okay, it's to get them talking, so you can discover, like Anthony just said, their pain points, their growth concerns, or their growth growth goals, their business concerns. You want to ask these transitional open-ended questions in order to get them talking. What about number 8? When was the last time your benefit strategy was evaluated for tax efficiency? What about number 7? This is a good one, right? Number 7 is a real good one. Are you currently taking advantage of any pre-tax benefit programs under IRS Section 125 or related codes? You're testing the awareness while looking for signaling out the opportunity, right? You testing for awareness, see if they're aware of that program. How familiar are you with the IRS compliant wellness tax strategies? That's a good one. How familiar are you with the IRS compliant wellness tax strategies that can reduce your payroll taxes and enhance your employee benefits at no net cost? That's number 6. You see, that's a good one that you can use with everybody. Right? This is to open up the dialogue, to open up the conversation. You can use that with everyone. All right. So, you know, this is, and when you're asking these questions, you're writing down and you're listening for the pain points. You're listening for the growth, their growth goals. You're listening how you can do what? Implement your tax strategy program and make it part of their growth, make it part of their solution to their pain. Okay? Make it part of their preventative measures for future futuristic things. Okay? So they're not overpaying in the future. You have to paint a picture. You have to paint the picture with them that, you know, Mr. Customer, you're spending a whole lot of money here. I'm not sure if you realize that you're putting out over $800,000 a year that you do not have to spend. Okay, let me ask you a question. How familiar are you with the IRS compliant wellness tax strategies that can reduce those payroll taxes and enhance your employee benefits? And this is at no cost. How familiar are you with that? You see how I just rolled that in there? And then they're going to start asking questions, right? They're going to start asking questions, okay?
Mo, this is Malik. Let's do a little role playing on this point you just brought up.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So Mo, you're telling me that I've lost out since 2013, hundreds of thousands of dollars that I could have. Can I get those retroactive?
No, they're not. They're not, and I'm glad you brought that up, Malik. They're not retroactive. As a matter of fact, this program has what's called a use it or lose it clause. And then you haven't been using, so we can't go back. So this is why I'm here today, as you know, as a global compliance agent, to make sure that you are taking advantage of these FICA tax credits and you're not continuing to lose out. Because as I can see right now, you're probably from the looks of things, you're putting out roughly maybe about $800,000 a year in additional spending that you don't have to spend.
So, Mr. Customer, let's get you signed up so you can start realizing the tax credit savings moving forward. Bam.
That's
Good one.
correct. So, and that's when we're going to go to the next training, which I'm going to do right, you know, which is the closing part. So there's different closing. It's called like the focus closes, the opportunity close, you know, the clarity close, the partnership close. We're going to talk about these different types of closing because now, you know, you can say things like, listen, once we go over these numbers, you'll see exactly, you know, how this creates a real savings and additional value to your business. I have Thursday at 5 o'clock available. Does this work for you? I need to go over the numbers, okay? And this is where the numbers speak for themselves. I'll walk you through exactly how your company benefits financially. What time this week works for you to review them together? These are your closing statements. I'd love to show you in black and white what the FICA tax credits and wellness strategy can mean for you. Let's secure a quick meeting and time to break it down. How's Thursday at 4? And if you want to set an urgency, like, listen, these savings based on what you just brought up with the lose it or use it or lose it, these savings don't wait. And every payroll cycle you delay is money left on the table. Let's lock in the time to go over it and go over it before your next pay period. Is Thursday at 4 o'clock good for you? No, Malik, listen, this is about putting dollars back into your business and into your employees' hands. Let's set up a quick call and a meeting so I can run through the numbers and and show you exactly what your savings would be. You'll see why other CEOs don't wait to get registered. Okay, things like that. Malik, I'm confident once you see these numbers, man, I'm telling you, you're going to understand why G2 Global is a game changer. Let's schedule a time to go over everything. Does 3 o'clock on Wednesday work for you? Can you fit that into your schedule? So these are all closing statements I'm going over right now, okay? Those are closing statements. So we went from the elevator pitch to open-ended questions, or from the elevator pitch to dealing with objections. So however that comes, right? It may come without objections. You know, it may come without objections, and you can go straight into your transitional questions. You know, Malik, let me ask you a question. What challenges have you experienced in your company when trying to provide competitive benefits to your team? Or you can ask, how familiar are you with the IRS compliant wellness tax strategies that can reduce payroll taxes and enhance your employee benefits? Oh, did I mention this was at no cost to you? Okay, so those are the transitional open-ended questions. So what I would want you all to do is to start practicing. I'm going to give you a handout for the closing appointment statements, okay? I'm going to give you the closing appointment statements. I'm going to give you like 10 closing appointment statements that you can use. So now you're going to have your opening statement, which is going to be your elevator pitch. You're going to have your rebuttals, and you're going to have your closing statements and your transitional. So this is your whole conversation. This is your conversation, okay? And so you need to know when talking and speaking with them that once you get them to sign, or once you get them to the appointment, your job is done. Once you get
No,
this,
that was
go
no,
ahead.
that was going to be my question. So let's say they say, okay, Tuesday at 11 o'clock. What happens at Tuesday at 11 o'clock? Because we
Then we
won't have
get
a
them on the
census by
books for
then.
Tuesday at 11 o'clock. You say, okay, great. We're going to need a copy of your payroll report and your census report. And what we're going to do on Tuesday at 11 o'clock, we're going to run the numbers, and we're going to get back and let you know exactly. We're going to get back to you and let you know exactly what your savings are and what kind of additional supplemental benefits can be offered to your chain at no additional cost.
And in addition to that, if you want to shorten the sales cycle, one more call. John, while I have you on the phone, can you patch in HR so we can get the payroll report sent over to us, and we'll have that proposal to you on that call tomorrow at 2:00. Right? So
Absolutely.
you're taking away another call, which could go out into next week, and me might be on vacation at summertime, and then now you're moving out to August and September. John, just take a second. I mean, she has the payroll report. She'll send it right over to you. You just want to make contact with her anyway. It's another name that you have, when this process is slowed down, and say, hey, where's that paperwork at? So don't be afraid to push.
That's right. That's right. Listen, I'm glad you said it right. Don't be afraid to push. This is not this. Listen, it's not. Think about it this way. They don't know that this service is for them, and you're just making them aware. You're making them aware. That's it. You are the consultant. Remember, we're doing consultative sales, all right, and not transactional. And it's really, I hate to call it sales when it's not really selling. This is more. You're having to sell yourself, if anything. But this is more just implementation and getting customers aware that, hey, you've got some FICA tax credits available for you that you need to get implemented. Let me get those registered, get you registered and get that done for you. In a nutshell. Okay. So, yeah, this is all about conversational. This is conversational pieces. This is to get to conversation. So it's important that after these calls, the handouts on the elevator pitch, the transitional, open-ended questions, I'm going to give you the closing statement questions, things like that. You got to be going over these things.
And let's do some role playing and also do what Anthony did, and that is he pasted his right in that cubicle. They're there for the reference, and
Absolutely.
you got all the time. And after a while, you pick up on them, but you start using the good ones.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I practice. Another thing that I do, I actually practice. So if you came in my office and you didn't knock, and you came in, you might catch me. Look like I'm talking to myself, but I do that sometimes. And I might answer myself, but in this case, I was practicing. So, practicing what you're going to say is a trait that all of us should possess. Practice. Go in the mirror and practice. I even practice on my wife. And she's the client. Okay. Go ahead, Dave Rose.
Hey man, I just wanted to ask you before I forgot. You mentioned that we can no longer use the term SMRP. What are we supposed to refer to it as now?
So the compliance attorneys are saying that they don't want, her name is Darcy. Darcy don't want us saying SMRP or whimper because she wants us to rank. She said those programs from a compliance standpoint were not all the way compliant, how it was written up. So they had to rewrite the plan, which is called the SICMMP, same program, but they just make sure that all the compliant pieces were in place properly. Okay, same program. The only difference is that the employer now doesn't have to pay full premium for the insurance. So he's not paying on that. He's going to be doing self-pay. So they're going to do self-pay with stop losses, which means that if that premium is, just say $1,000 a month for that client, they're now only paying $500. They only paying $500, and then they're implementing all those section
I
codes.
mean, do they have a simple term or a simple name other than what we previously used?
I'm trying to
Some kind of acronym or?
Well, the acronym is SICMMP.
Okay.
But we're gonna call it SICMAP.
If anybody could come up with a good name for this thing, I would love it. But I don't know. But I don't know. No, I don't have a name for it. But
okay, yeah, I'll have to read up on that a little bit.
Yeah,
see
the
if I can
proper
get an understanding of it.
Yeah, the proper acronym is
Can you post that in the Discord, the SICMAP, whatever it is?
Yeah. I did, and I will do it again.
Hey, I got one other question also. So
Go ahead.
being it's July going into August, whatever. So if you get a new client to sign up for this in the middle of the year, do they receive the benefit for the full year or the full $600, whatever it is, or
it's where they
only
start?
get a
It's gonna be where they start. Okay. So
okay.
So they're in the middle of the
Prorated
year,
per
they're
month
gonna
or
get
whatever.
the benefit for the middle of the year.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Just call it SIMP for simplified wellness
what?
plan.
What are we calling it?
It's pronounced SIMP for simplified. You can call it simplified wellness plan.
I don't think we should call it SIMP.
Call it SICMAP wellness.
SICMAP. SICMAP.
We also can't say reimbursement. Don't forget Moe.
Can we not just say IRS cafeteria plans?
What happened to we can't use workplace wellness?
Yeah, we can use that.
Yeah, keep it simple. And then if they ask a little bit, I say if they get deeper into questioning, you say it's a big acronym and it's what it means.
Can we? We can either ask the attorneys. Can we just call it a G2 Global Compliance Plan?
Yeah, I think Darcy's going to chime in on this one and give us the answer we're looking for. I think we're kind of circling the drain here.
Yeah,
I was going to. Oh, sorry. I was just going to ask if there was some way we could tie in the IRS because it gives us credibility. That's why I was saying the IRS cafeteria plan.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what it
is.
But it's more than just a cafeteria plan.
Well, yeah, I know, and we're going into more details about it, but that's just basically the
what did G say? We're going to do what, G?
Well, let's just wait and see what Darcy says.
Oh, yeah. Darcy's the attorney, guys. So
what did she say? We can't say either. Moe, reimbursement? Was that the other one?
That was the other one. We don't want us using the term reimbursement anymore. You got to use another term.
She's going to have some guidance on this because, and I think Anthony asked a question earlier about what information might be found online that might, discredit what we're talking about or something along those lines. Because there is some information on the internet. Even the IRS themselves has issued a few memorandums on wellness programs. A lot of these wellness programs aren't legal. They're not compliant, right? So, you can give yourself whatever tax credits you want, FICA tax credits, and everything's fine and fun and great until the IRS audits you, and then they say, no, you can't do that. So you have to pay all that back plus penalties, yada yada yada. So this program here will be completely compliant. A lot of the other wellness programs that are out there are not technically legal, and I feel as this becomes more, Moe would agree. And I know the attorney agrees that as this becomes more popular and saturated, that this will become regulated. right? Because the IRS is going to get tired of kind of all these fly-by-night companies coming in and telling employers, oh, you can write this off and you can write that off and you don't have to pay this and you don't have to pay that. And so, we're this attorney program is coming from a law firm. They're specifically geared towards, compliance and, offering audit protection and insurance and things like that are guaranteed that these programs are legal, whereas other ones are not. Now, I don't really think you have too much competition right now, but somewhere down the road, as this becomes more saturated, this will be talking benefits in terms of using us over someone else.
Good.
Can we touch base briefly on what happens afterwards, like after the employees of each company, they get onboarded and the steps from there?
After they get onboarded, I'm not sure I understand. After they're onboarded, you're saying what's next?
Yes. So the full process. So
Okay.
we have our first phone call with them.
Yes.
We have a meeting. After we see their census report, their payroll,
Yes.
then what are the steps after that? Like what happens behind the scenes?
So what happens behind the scenes at that point, they say, okay, let's move forward. We do the enrollment. We give them we can get them the enrollment where they can do self-enrollment, okay, on the system.
Okay.
They can actually send that link out to their employees, and the employees can actually self-enroll themselves.
Okay.
Or they can do, what was the other thing, automatic enrollment for everybody?
Oh, hold on. Sorry, I'm unmuted. Yeah, so there's a couple different ways that they can do it. It really depends, on the size of the company and how they want to do it. So we can just do auto enrollment, which basically uses up all the allocated dollars to the max, right? So
Okay.
let's say an employee has, I don't know, I'm just going to use a number, $400, right, to spend on different programs. They'll just use it up in the most efficient way, and sometimes that might be the best way to go about it. If you've got a company, they're closed, they're done, we're doing it, right? Why give them a ton of different choices and, hey, do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? Do you want to do this? Just auto enroll, and that's it. The other way would be is that it comes down to the employees and they pick from like a plan, like an A, B, or C, right? Okay. You want these benefits, these ones, that kind of thing. They're going to get a bunch of different emails basically from enrollment. And once they're all enrolled and everything, then it goes off to the payroll department.
Okay.
And that's where the whole setup and the breakdown comes. That's how we get paid and all of that. But that gets all handled in the back office. So it's not really anything that you'll be doing. So you'll basically, from your perspective, we'll get them on the call. We'll send out by the way, the census is basically a document that is like all the information about all the employees. So if you hear that word census, that's what that is. So that would have like, employee number one, their name, address, how long they've been employed, position, things like that. Some companies have that already. Some we might have to whip it up depending on how the structure of it is. That census basically gets uploaded into the quote system. So you upload the company information, company name, all that good stuff. You upload the census that has all the employees because we have to know every employee, right?
Okay.
And then from there, then the payroll report. We need the payroll report. And the payroll report also automatically gets uploaded and then it automatically populates in our system. So it's pretty simple stuff. And then from there, it would then give a quote for all the savings, the different credits or what they're receiving basically from the employer level and what each employee are receiving. And then they pick that, everything gets registered, they get onboarded. And it goes to the payroll department and that's it. And basically we get paid ACH and then you guys get paid out.
Okay. Alrighty. Thank you.
Thank you for clarifying that.
All good.
Any other questions? Are you all feeling like these trainings are helping with the conversation at all?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Indeed.
I do have a question.
Okay.
Does companies regularly just volunteer that information about their employees? I mean, from our first initial call, we're going to be coming into them cold, and then we're going to be asking them to volunteer some information about their employees. I know there's all sorts of different regulations about giving that kind of information out, or is that something that's taken care of when you guys go in and ask for it? I mean, how does that work? Is that normally how they would do it?
Yeah, so companies, you're not going to probably call a company and they're going to say, "Oh, here's all my employees' social security numbers.
Right,
Have at it." I would agree there. I would say that when we're talking about getting information, we were going to assume at this point that they've done some due diligence, right? They've had calls with us, they've been on the Zoom, they've looked at the website, that kind of stuff. Now, in terms of legality speaking, what's really nice about having the attorneys on our side is that, one, I mean, it gives a lot of credibility, but then it's 100% HIPAA compliant as well, right? Because you have to
Right.
follow certain laws. I'm talking about health insurance information here. So
Right.
yeah, we have the credibility to back it up. So yeah, I would say that, I think initially you're right. You're not going to just make a phone call and someone's going to be like, "Here's all my company's information." That's why it's important that, you get to the decision maker, kind of build that relationship, and then get them to the Zoom call. So that way that, they can feel comfortable, whether they vetted us through, us having the attorney on. I think for larger, and Moe probably speak on this, for larger companies, it'll be very beneficial to have the attorneys on those Zoom calls, right, Mo? What do you say?
100%. Yeah, 100%. The larger companies we want to get the law firm on in Weitzman. That's the law firm. We want to get them on the call with those clients, okay? Because they can speak to the compliance, legalities, and legal terms of what it is that they're doing. And
yeah, this is a big law firm, so it has a lot of credibility. All the contracts, everything's coming with this law firm heading.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, it was
Are we
just
working with
my
third-party-
initial question. My initial question is once we're making our call, we get through to the person. We've now established a day that they can attend a Zoom meeting, and then afterwards we're going to be asking a question pertaining to their employees. Most people won't volunteer that, and that's where I was trying to understand at what stage we have to do that, or do we do that?
Yeah, but that's going to come after the conversation. So, yes, in the beginning they're not, but they're giving
Okay.
they're just giving you a payroll log in the census afterwards. So it's not, you're not getting all of this. You're not getting socials and things like that from them. Okay, it's just basically it's going to show the amount that they're paying out, the taxes that they're paying out. It gives a picture. It's a one-page report. It's a one-page report. Depending on the size of the company, could be a couple of pages, but it's a page. It just basically outlines the number of employees. It outlines what they're getting paid. It outlines what they're paying on their, on their expenses, that type of stuff. But that's going to come after you are in conversation and you've uncovered their needs and you've been a consultant. Yeah, that's a little work. That's the work on your part. That's the part that you are getting paid to do, to make sure that these companies are comfortable with you and you've explained the product enough and thorough, detailed enough, and you've shown all the credibility where they're comfortable with giving you what it is that you need to get them back the quote that they need.
Okay.
Was that fair?
Yeah. I mean, I'll probably have to do more work on that because I'm just thinking, just from past, people are not readily going to give up their information for anything, especially with hackers and everything else that's out there. I mean, we come from that industry. And so that was the reason why I'm asking that question.
Yeah, understood.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, yeah, Mo.
Go ahead,
Um,
Damon.
Pretty much to what Ms. Singleton, Zena was asking, what happens after? I want to get into a little bit more detail. So, and what Mr. Richards was saying, uh, after we kind of mesh and build a little bit of trust and rapport, and then the Zoom goes through and everything's successful, don't we on our end have a team? Because you use that word, not you, but in the notes it says concierge service. Don't we have a team that goes in and works with their HR department and seamlessly integrate their employees so
Yes.
that everything can mesh? That's what
Yes.
I really wasn't here. I've heard it, but I didn't really get
Yeah.
the gist of it.
Yeah. No, the third party administration, that's what they do. Yeah, they
Okay.
have
Yeah, and it's important. This concierge program is the only program that actually integrates. That's the
that
key
was the
word,
issue, right? Correct.
integration. Yep.
Immigration.
So you're right on that word because the other wellness programs, they don't integrate properly.
Right, right. Yeah, that's a big concern because it goes back to Anthony's question about just giving away the employee stuff. I don't even think that should be in a second conversation. The Social Security that should come later after,
Yeah,
I mean,
it comes when they've made a decision.
right,
It's like when you're looking for a loan, right? Someone
right,
calls you
right,
and says, "Hey, you need some money for your business." You don't go, "Oh, yeah, here's my social."
right.
You
Bless you.
talk to them.
Hmm.
Okay, here's what we can do. Here's what we're thinking. Here's the website. Here's what here's what I've done with past customers. Here's this, here's that. You have a call. Then they fill out an application. You get the information, right? They trust you. It's the
Right.
same thing. It's like any product.
Yeah. I have a second question. It's not necessarily a question. It's just I guess it's through my lens that this program benefits. Of course, we know it benefits the employer, but it really benefits the employer more than anything else. So what I'm thinking, and you can help me out here, tell me if I'm going in too deep. Focus on showing the employer that this saves him a hell of a lot of money. And I think to me, I try to sway people into saying, hey, this is going to benefit you, this, that, and the other. And of course it's going to help the employees, but should the focus be more on getting the employer to say, "Hey, I could save a lot of money, yada yada yada," or should we just be running down everything that could happen for the employees as well as the employer? Like, how are we going to balance this out? You know what I'm saying? I know how I want to balance it out, but I want some help and some input here because I would attack the employee. Hey, this is, whatever my pitch is going to be. I wouldn't try to bang hard on employees. Just brush over that and let the employer know, hey, you
It
could blah blah blah. I'll let you continue.
it depends because you've got to be able to read the room, right? So like if they only have 10 employees, right, or
Right.
five, right, how much
Right.
money are they really saving, right?
Correct.
So, there's only so much money, right? So then in
Exactly.
that scenario, you've got a smaller company that really cares about their employees. I'm not saying that larger companies don't care about their employees.
Hmm.
Some do or whatever, but those they're small businesses, mom and pop. That it's more of a family, right? It's not just a number, right?
It's correct.
So
Hmm.
then in that scenario, well, look, you care about your employees, right? Yeah, of
Hmm.
course, right? And this is the way to retain them, make them happier, give them more benefits. They'll work harder. They don't know who's paying for those benefits, right?
Right.
So now you, Mr. Employer, you look like the hero, right?
Right.
Okay. And also for larger companies, right? Like let's look at hospitals, right? Or that kind of industry, right? Even if
Hmm.
it's a small hospital, we'll say they only have, I don't know, 200 lives, right?
Hmm.
They're having a hard time with retaining those employees because there's a shortage, right?
Correct.
And you got traveling nurses, other larger companies pulling their talent away. So
Hmm.
they've got a different problem. Yeah, they want to save money, but also too, a big cost is losing employees.
That's
Right?
right.
You lose employees, now you got to retrain. Right? It costs way more to hire a new employee than to retain one that's already been there. Way more, 10 times more. So look at the cost from that standpoint. Look, the benefits, extra benefits, It's what retains those employees so they stay here longer. So it isn't always about the money.
Mm-hmm.
It's
It
about
depends.
it's about what you discover too. So
Gotcha.
in your discovery, okay, number 4 question, what's your approach to attracting and retaining good talent in your industry? Right?
Gotcha.
Remember, the secret to sales all the time is open-ended questions. Okay. Open-ended
Mhm.
questions. Why? Because you're getting the customers to talk. And that's what you want. You want them to talk. How serious, how are you currently taking advantage of any pre-tax benefit programs under IRS Section 125 or related, any one of those related codes? So what do you
Mhm.
think that they're going to ask? Right there. If you
What's
use,
that?
yeah, what was that, G?
What's that?
Exactly. You see, Damon, they're going to
Mhm.
ask, what's that? Okay. So this
I
is
would
why
too.
huh?
I would too.
I know. And what's your answer?
Well, I have to break down the codes.
Huh?
I would have to break down what the codes are and tell them that it's, just something that you should
So,
be compliant with.
right. So, are you currently taking advantage of any pre-tax benefit programs? All right. What would you,
Mhm.
what would your response be?
Like
If
what?
exactly.
No, I'm asking you. What would your response be? Because he's going to say,
I'm
what is that?
I'm currently not. You
No,
saying am I an employee or
you're
I'm the
not the customer.
Oh.
G's the customer. So we're asking, you're asking, his answer was, what is that?
Oh, I need my script in front of me, Mo. I'm not prepared, but I mean, I would definitely use the script in my own words. Definitely. I'm
Gotcha.
sorry.
So that's really what I'm trying to get at. Okay.
Right.
This is
Right.
why you have these scripts and these rebuttals, and it's important for you to be able to go in and answer those questions because, like G just said, well, what is that, right? And so now, what if you were on the phone right now with a client and they asked you that question?
I gotta come back. I gotta
Right, right. So
What's the comeback?
right, the
Well,
comeback.
it tests what they know.
Say it again.
It tests what they know and signals opportunity.
That's correct. That is. But you said it tests what they know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, correct.
Exactly. So
Correct.
they don't know, then you got an open door to go ahead and say, hey, let me help you.
If they don't know it, then you got an open door. And most times they're not going to know it. But even if they don't know it, and you got an open door, you got to know. You got to be able to explain it.
correct.
I'll say this about the objections and rebuttals. Objections are great. If you don't have an objection, you don't have a sale.
Correct.
So you look for those. It's like buying signals,
Exactly.
right? Anytime there's an objection, right, that's an opportunity for you to overcome it. Once you've overcome all the objections, then you can close. But if there is no objection, there's no sale.
There's no sale.
Mm-hmm.
So look over. That's good, G. Look over these objections, and once again, start digesting these objections and practicing them, and knowing what is that. That's the big question. What is that? Right? Know your answer to what is that. This is a tax strategy program that's built off of 4 IRS back codes, which is IRS 125, 106, 106, and 105, 106, and 213. And these FICA tax credit programs is designed to put money back into your bottom line by eliminating the taxes that you plan on your medical, your benefits. So it's a way to teach you and show you how to rethink how you're utilizing your benefits today. So we're showing you from a tax strategy standpoint how to maximize these benefits. How you maximize.
What makes it so sweet is that when value exceeds costs,
Yes,
you got a sale.
absolutely.
However, there is no cost.
There's no cost.
So it's a win-win.
That's right. It's just all value. This is an all value program, and that's what makes this so beautiful. Because as Larry just said, it's all value. The cost that they're gonna have associated is them giving you the time to show them the value. There's your cost. How much does this cost? Well, it's gonna cost you about 10 or 15 minutes so I can show you the value and get you registered. How about that? It's going to cost you about 10 or 15 minutes of your time so I can show you how to implement these FICA tax credits that you're leaving on the table. Is that a good one?
Mhm.
No?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think that was good.
Outstanding.
It was good. It was good for me.
Thank you, sir. I'm sensitive about my sales. All right, y'all. We're doing good. We're cooking with grease. Some of you all have clients ready to put in. So next week, I want to start getting everybody started getting them situated and settled so they can at least start contacting and making contact with their clients via the CRM, emails, things of that nature. Okay.
Yeah, they're all set up. I just have to populate the leads.
Okay.
So,
all right. Good deal. Good deal.
once the leads are in there, they'll have opportunities they can work with.
Yeah, we got a lot of them too.
Yeah, and I was gonna say too, like you said, if you guys got warm leads, put them in. You know,
let
you
us
have,
know. Yeah, to get on the
Yeah.
line with you. I know Marcia, are you here? Is she here? Yeah, she's there.
Yes, I'm here.
So she gave me a company, the company that I'm working with you, like she just gave me one, it's like 10,000 people, right? There,
Yeah. Well, yes.
not the one? Okay,
Yes.
right. So companies like that, you got those type of companies, even if it's not that many people. But those big companies like that, they've got to get what's called was it audit coverage? Gee, is that right? Audit coverage? Audit?
Well, yeah, I mean, everyone gets audit insurance.
It doesn't matter the number of employees, everybody's got to get stuck with hit with that.
Yeah, it doesn't matter the number. They
Okay.
get
I thought it was just for the bigger companies.
No, the bigger companies, we might end up extending the number because I think for right now it's audit insurance for up to $500,000. So for those bigger companies, it might have to be for a higher number, but they need some action first, so before they can start increasing those. But yeah, all of those are going to have that as concierge. So for the bigger companies, you're going to absolutely want to have attorneys on there.
So yep. We'll have our attorney on that.
But even so, if you've got 1,000 or 500 or even 100,
they still gonna have the okay. That's good.
It's they don't have to get it. It's part of it. We give it to them.
Right. Okay. Oh, got it.
Yeah, we're providing it to them. It's a service.
It's a service to them. Got it.
Yeah, they're not getting it.
Yeah. Last thing before we close out, guys. If anyone is having any onboarding issues, ping Gerald, also known as G, on Discord, and he's going to walk you through it.
Yeah, I helped a few. I'm going to work with. I've got, who do I have here that needs? Is Rob on here? Rob on here right now?
Yeah, Rob's not on the call. He just messaged me before the call. He had something, the emergency that came up.
Okay. Melinda, we're going to work together next week. I think we just have one more little thing to do. I think, was it Trudy?
I think it was two things you had to do still.
Yeah, I think we almost finished on the Chrome extension. I think we just have to download the phone extension. It should go pretty quick.
Okay.
And then Trudy, did you get my messages on Discord?
Yes, I did, but I am still kind of confused. I went to the website for G2 Network and it won't let me log in there. And for the phone, I did download the soft phone, but I don't know where to go from there. So I really think we need to do a phone
Okay.
call and through it.
That's
Hey,
fine.
what are we
Did I
doing,
help onboard you before? Was it you that I worked with before on screen share, or was that someone else?
That was someone else.
Okay, so then that's, I think that's where my confusion is I thought you were the person that I helped, but then when I saw you on this call, I'm like, wait a minute, that doesn't look like the same person. So I'll send you a message on Discord. We'll set up a time to go through it real quick.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
you were sharing my screen.
No, I know you, but there was someone else too, and I can't remember who it was now because I've helped so many people. I thought it was Trudy, but now I'm realizing it wasn't.
It was Audrey.
It was Audrey. Thank you, Trudy, Audrey. I knew they were similar. Something with a Y. That makes a lot of sense now. So okay, my apologies, Trudy. I'll get you hooked up. Don't worry.
Okay.
Y'all taking me over my minutes, because I was to be scheduled to be off of this call at 8 o'clock.
No, he loves to talk. Don't worry, guys.
And to beat the clock, so G the one took us over.
Don't worry, he loves this.
It was not me, Malik.
Don't listen to him.
Just for the record.
Yeah, you can listen to him up until the point of until we go over time, and everything after that's not true.
All right, you all. Thank you all for showing up.
I do have one question. Is there anything other than Canva to download some of those files, or is it Canva the only application that you use to do it?
I'm with you. I don't like Canva either.
No, I don't.
I feel the same way. I think you can export them as PDF, right, Mo?
That's a you question, bro. I don't.
Hold on, let me check. Yes, you can.
All of them download for me as a PDF, but I put them into Adobe.
Yeah. So what is it that you don't like? What's wrong with this files? I'm sorry.
You can go to Canva, Anthony, and I think you can just export them as PDF.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yep. I don't really like to use Canva either. I prefer PDF, but you can export the Canva to PDF right in the little thing.
Are y'all talking about my flyers? You know I can hear you guys, right?
No, the flyers are nice. Canva.
Yeah.
No, it's the application.
Yeah, they're not corporate.
What'd you say?
Can't.
I said they don't cooperate
the application.
sometimes.
Yeah. Canvas are Pinterest.
Right.
Yeah.
You say they're not corporate like Canvas?
No, we just don't want to.
Yeah, it don't cooperate with me sometimes.
Oh, okay.
Especially on the last two.
All right. Well, we'll fix that. That's good information.
Yeah, there's a spot to export to PDF, Anthony.
Okay, thank you.
All right, is that it for today?
Yep.
Everybody good? All minds clear? We good? All right, so
Thanks,
I'm gonna.
Thank you, Mo. This has been amazing.
Thank you, Mo. Wings
Thanks,
up.
Mo. Thanks, Gerald.
Appreciate
Wings
you
up.
always.
We're getting closer, guys. We're getting closer.
Getting close.
Like it.
We're almost there. We're almost there.
Thank you. We'll see it.
All right. All right, you all. Thanks. See you later, Malik, man. Appreciate you, brother.
All right, good night, everyone.
Bye. Good night.
Good evening.
Good night.
Father.
Goodbye, baby. Love you.